Oh, you just pressed play on This Week with Drunk Astrology. My name is Graham Breitenstein. I'm your astrologer and the creator of Drunk Astrology. If you're looking for someone to make astrology make sense to you and for you, well, my friend, you have come to the right place. Here on this podcast, we discuss the weekly cosmic weather. And when we break it down, we break it down. I believe that astrology can be used as a tool to inform your daily decisions and enhance your day-to-day life. So if you're ready to have a hell of a lot of fun with astrology, make some strategic decisions, and to just keep it real, well, that journey starts right now. Ba da dun 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 dun. Oh 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 no no. Oh 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 no no. Oh 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 no no. Oh 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 no no. Ba da dun 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 dun. I look and stare so deep in your eyes. I touch on you more and more every time. When you leave, I'm begging you not to go. I call your name 2-3 times in a row. Such a funny thing for me to try to explain. How I'm feeling and my pride is the one to blame. Yeah, cause I know I don't understand just how your love can do it, no one else's can. Got me looking so crazy right now. Your love's got me looking so crazy right now. Got me looking so crazy right now. Your touch got me looking so crazy right now. Got me hoping you page me right now. Your kiss got me hoping you save me right now. Looking so crazy in love's got me looking so crazy in love. Hey! Oh 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 no no. Oh 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 no no. Oh 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 no no. Oh 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 no no. Huh. Baby, sometimes this week you might be feeling like, oh no no. Oh no no. Oh no no. But that's okay, because there's a plenty of ways that you can work with the energy of the sky this week. And you know that's what we do here at This Week with Drunk Astrology. Welcome, Astro Lover. It is the podcast for the week of August 28th through September 3rd, 2023. September, y'all. We're entering the 9th month. And also your astrologer's birthday month. So, hey, you know, it's not too scary. It's not too crazy. But indeed, we are back to school. We're back to work. We're back to, you know, the summertime fun. Venus is the only one really holding on, being in Leo and all, but retrograde. So let me just tell you something. This week, things are going to move, but they're not necessarily going to move in the way you want them to. Okay, and I'm going to break this down to you. It's just so you get the understanding of the overall vibe, because this week things might not move like you want them to. Maybe not at the clip you want them to move, maybe not the direction you want them to move, but there's good reason for it. And I just want to break this down cosmically so you understand why I'm saying this. First and foremost, Venus is our headliner. She is in the hot seat this week, okay? And here's why. Venus herself is retrograde in the sign of Leo. Mars has just entered the sign of Libra, which is what? Also ruled by Venus. Uranus is in Taurus, which is the other sign that Venus rules. Now, that means, and let me not forget, Jupiter also in the sign of Taurus, ruled by Venus. So that means Mars, Jupiter, and Uranus are all looking to Venus to make things make sense. She's moving backwards. This week, Uranus stations retrograde in the sign of Taurus. So now you're going to have backwards motion on backwards motion, because they're all looking to Venus. And she's like, baby, I'm over here trying to figure out what I need, what I want, what am I attracting, where's my balance, where's my passion, you know, where do I really want to go? Who do I really want to be with? She's evaluating when she's retrograde. And in Leo, she's evaluating her wants and needs and desires. So that means our get up and go, Mars, answering to a reflecting Venus. Jupiter in Taurus, our growth, our expansion, answering to a reflecting Venus. Uranus, our inner rebel, our revolutionary, our spot of brilliance, stationing at the very top of the week, answering to a reflecting Venus. So are you hearing a key word here this week? Reflection. But it doesn't stop there. The fun doesn't stop there. The sun, newly in Virgo, just lighting up your astrologer's chart. If you don't know, if you're new here, sun, moon, Mercury, Mars, and rising, all Virgo. So it's always fun to get lit up like a Christmas tree. In Virgo season, plus the Mercury retrograde that is currently underway in the sign of Virgo. So what I'm saying here, Sun in Virgo is looking to Mercury to make things make sense, and Mercury is retrograde, going backwards, reflecting, reuniting, reconsidering, all the RE fun words. So that means every single personal planet plus Jupiter, who's not really a personal planet, but like we feel him, we feel his urge to grow and to expand. And we look to him when we feel like we're plateauing. You got to find Jupiter in your chart when you feel like you're plateauing. So all of these energies are looking to backwards moving planets this week to make things make sense. So it's just not necessarily going to make sense. And you're going to have to be okay this week. The silver lining in all this energy this week is by not pushing against the grain, by not actively swimming upstream, meaning not, if you don't resist, I'm gonna try and find my words, but my ruling planet's retrograde, so forgive me if this takes me a second to nail it. If you're willing to press pause, if you are willing to move at a slower pace, if you're willing to go easy on yourself this week, this can be a beautiful week. On the flip side, if you try and push and push and push and try to force something to happen, if you try to if you're swimming upstream and you keep, you're just like, I want it, you're likely going to experience a harder time. Because nothing this week is really moving forward. It's all riding on the brakes. So you've got to be willing to ride the brakes. Listen, I am preaching to the choir here. I need this message just as much as anybody because I love to work. Excuse me. I love to work. I love to push myself. I love to challenge myself. I love getting in the weeds. And if you can definitely get in the weeds this week, but you've got to be willing to lower your expectations, lower your output, right? So instead of I'll give you an example from me. Instead of designing a whole new beautiful landing page on my website, it's more like, let's just take it section by section. Maybe the goal, and maybe this is what I'm setting for myself this week. Maybe my goal is by the end of the week, I'll have one big, beautiful landing page done. So that each day it's more like, okay, maybe I'll just get the first section. And then I'll look and go into the next section the next day. And so where normally I would anticipate being able to dedicate like 3 to 5 hours to just building out a beautiful landing page. And instead, I'm going to do, similar to last week, these little micro chunks, these little micro doses, bit by bit, so that you still feel accomplished. It's just not such a big overhaul, right? So you can take a bigger goal, a bigger outcome that you want for yourself this week, break that baby down. Small victories this week, okay? That's one way to approach this week. How can you create small victories for yourself? There's now this is the layers of everything happening this week are real. So I'm trying to make sure I string this all together for you in a way where you're like, oh, I get it. I think we're doing good so far. But like I said, let's just give you just more of like some of these bigger major transits this week. Uranus stations retrograde on Monday. We have a Pisces full moon on Wednesday, so get ready for the it's sad and somber. It can be, but it can also be very cleansing and purifying. We'll talk about that. We have Mercury retrograde making its second connection with Chiron, so we're going to talk about that because that can be a little like little pokey. And, you know, you just don't really want to be poked right now. And then at the very end of the week on Sunday, get ready to clap for joy. Venus stations direct in the sign of Leo. So we have like so many overlaps, right? Like Mercury and Venus this week are both retrograde. The Sun, Mars, Jupiter, Uranus, all answering to these retrograde planets. So next week, it's going to be a different story because Venus is going to be moving forward. And we won't have such an overlay. But because we've got these layers on layers on layers, this week you gotta chill. You gotta just chill. And the Pisces full moon really doubles down on the chill. But there's more of like an aha or this is a big turning point, right? So that full moon is, of course, pulling on a new moon from back in February. So we're gonna have to work out some of the nasties, right? Pisces, that 12th house ruler, you know, the house of secrets, the house of self-sabotage, self-undoing, repeated patterns of behavior. Have you been here before? How have you changed? Did you change? All of these things come up. We'll talk a little bit more in depth after we get through Newsboard and the moons. So let's just jump into that, shall we? The Newsboard this week is really short and sweet. But we've got some new daily dosers and little daily dose subscribers that I want to shout out. Sabrina Kapler and Deanna Reese. Welcome to A Daily Dose of Stars. If you're new here or you just want a little reminder, A Daily Dose of Stars is my daily podcast. It's subscription-based, 10 buckaroonies a month. And let me tell you, we break down the energy of each day. It is a priceless tool to have in your back pocket. Okay, so I teach you to leverage the stars in real time so that you're working with them, not against them. Okay, so the daily breakdown is quite... It's honestly, I mean, this is how I've been conducting my life now for like almost a decade. But I'm telling you, it's that little added bonus where you're like, oh my God, this is how I can use this today. Thank you. And we get into, because I've polled you all, I have heard you all, and a lot of you have gotten back to me saying, yo, if you taught, I would buy that course. I would attend that class. So I'm also adding in some micro doses of astrology lessons in the daily doses. So if you are someone that is cosmically curious, if you want to know more about how astrology works and how you can start to do some of this yourself, then a daily dose is really for you. And when we talk about the void moons, now you might be like, what's a void moon, Graham? And it's a phase. In astrology jargon, it's officially the moon's void of course phase. But I teach you how to work with those, what to do and what not to do. Because when the moon is void, you don't want to start anything new. Work, personal life, romantic life, you don't want to do that. I'm going to teach you how to do that. You also don't want to shop. You're going to end up wasting your money in most cases. And then we learn about the nodes of fate. These lunar nodes that really dictate fate and destiny. And I teach you how to work with them so that you are proactively going after, and proactively and strategically going after your own fate and destiny. It's not just you like, well, I guess I'm going to just see what happens. No, that's not what we do. So the daily doses, I teach you when these fated opportunities arise and what to frickin' do. Okay? So welcome, Sabrina. Welcome, Deanna. I am so happy that you've joined. You have a welcome email from yours truly. So if you have any questions, you know where to reach me. And that's it for the news board. Okay? So daily dosers, we've got some fun lessons coming this week. And I'm excited for you to hear them. And now, let's jump on over to the moon. Let's see what sign she's in this week. And, the reason we talk about the moon is because she's the fastest moving celestial body up there. And as such, she dictates our daily flow. So every 2.5 days, right? Every 2.5 days, the moon changes signs. And so the flavor of the energy gets a little different. So this week, we've got the moon in Capricorn to start us off, and then shifts into Aquarius for the rest of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Starts us off in Capricorn, in Aquarius, Monday, Tuesday, enters Pisces Wednesday, of course, with that full moon. Thursday, Friday, shifts into Aries. And then with Aries, we've got that through the end of the weekend when it enters Taurus Sunday morning. So we start off with this Capricorn moon, but you know what? That Capricorn moon changes pretty early in the day. But Capricorn moons can be a little isolating, hard-working energy. Look, it's the weekend and here I am recording, That's good Capricorn energy. Like I said last week, it's great for isolation if that's kind of what you're needing. It's being really just disciplined and responsible with what you need and want, right? So if you need to just take a time out, Capricorn moons can be really good for that. But you just got to be weary, or not weary. You got to be aware that with Capricorn moons, because it's the moon in detriment, the moon doesn't really like being in Capricorn. It doesn't mean if you have a Capricorn moon in your birth chart that, oh no, I'm in detriment. That's not that. Work is probably a safe space for you. And it's just learning how to let down your guard a little bit, okay? So then with really the week starting with this Aquarius energy, which Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, so we got a little extra layer Monday, Tuesday, because the Aquarius moon is looking to Uranus, and Uranus is stationing retrograde. So we're going to talk about that in a second. But Aquarius is all about friends, communities, and groups. So we've got that vibe Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, when the moon is in Pisces, more sentimental. That full moon adds to sensitivities, emotionalities. Don't be surprised and don't resist anything that comes up. Anything, if you feel like crying, if you feel like letting it out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and honestly for the 2 weeks ahead, by all means, just let her rip. Let it flow. Let the oceans and rivers and tsunamis, just let them flow through you. It's okay. It's okay, right? And if you are accepting of the slower pace you're being asked to follow this week, you might find that when you slow down, you were holding on to a lot. And being able to see that, you can also now begin to feel through it with the help of the Pisces full moon. And then for the weekend, moon in Aries, Friday, Saturday, and a little bit of Sunday. We pick ourselves up and we move and we go. It really is that's a big shift in vibe, right? With Pisces being slow and reflective and nostalgic, and then Aries picking up for the weekend like, yo, okay, that was cute, that was fun. I'm going now. Aries moon, all about action. It can be really wild if you know any Aries moons. Regardless of sun sign, Aries moons are pretty dramatic and crazy and lovable all at the same time. They can be really fun. And then ending the week off with that Taurus moon. Great, because that same day, Sunday, is the day that Taurus moon ruled by Venus, and Venus stations direct that day. So a nice little layer there to like really set the tone for next week, because the energy is going to be different next week. But this week is such a like ride the brake kind of week. Now let's get to these planets. As I have already mentioned, Monday at 7:39 p.m. Pacific. Remember, all the times I give you on this podcast are Pacific Standard. Uranus stationing retrograde at 23 degrees Taurus. So, because Venus is our headliner, Taurus Libras out there, or Taurus Libra moon and or rising signs, you're going to get, your boat's going to be rocked. Now, all of us collectively, Monday, Tuesday, the boats are rocking. Okay? The boat is rocking. And, flexibility is always key. How can you, Taurus as a fixed earth sign likes to hold on and just keep things as is because it gets comfortable. And it likes it good, bad, ugly, and different. The change is where it's like, ooh, Taurus energy gets a little sticky icky because it doesn't really want change. It can't. Here's the funny little layer to Taurus, right? They will want a change, but they will resist it at the same time. So Uranus in the sign of Taurus is real interesting because Uranus blows things up, and it's the revolutionary, and it's the planet that says the status quo ain't gonna cut it. But when Uranus stations retrograde, now the initial stop of this planet, so Monday, Tuesday, it can get rocky. But we actually get all that volatility that comes with Uranus. That slows to a dull roar. We actually get a chance to kind of breathe for a second. So after Monday, Tuesday, I'm anticipating the next like 5-ish months while Uranus is retrograde, that a lot of the like nuke bombs that Uranus can drop, natural disasters are Uranus, tenfold. Volcanoes, earthquakes, all of that. We can look to Uranus. But now it's like, okay, it slows down. The insanity can usually just kind of, it just goes to a more of a dull roar, a slower pace, a quieter pace. And in that quieter space, there comes the brilliance, because Uranus is really brilliant. And when we get hit, you have to. This is a little astro geeky, but Uranus is known as the higher octave of Mercury. So it is our thinking mind, but it is more in that brilliant space, more in that like imagination, and more of the like, oh my gosh, I just got zinged or zapped with this great idea. That's more Uranian. Mercury's more the day-to-day, how your thinking mind, how you talk to yourself, how you talk to others, how you share or don't share through communication. That's more, Mercury's more that like day-to-day level. Uranus is more that high level of like, oh my gosh, this change would be amazing. And it's not so worried about like what the day-to-day looks like. So really allow yourself, especially this week, to tap into the brilliance of a high-level mind while retrograde. You might have to let Monday, Tuesday go by because it's going to be a little rocky. But you really like sit in that slow change. And I'm gonna give some prompts to those of you in the Daily Dose. So Daily Dosers, I'm gonna give you a couple little things to consider, and when working with Uranus retrograde. Okay, so like I said, Monday, Tuesday, rocking the boat. Then we get to Wednesday, and this is more the aha. Here's a turning point. Here's an opportunity for endings turning to new beginnings, right? But it can also be boo-hoo. And I'm not trying to downplay sensitivity and emotionality at all, but just boo-hoo, like something can zoom to the surface under this Pisces full moon. It takes place at 6:36 p.m. at 7 degrees and 25 minutes of Pisces. So you're going to look at your chart. And if you don't have your chart, scroll up on look at the show notes by scrolling up on this episode. And I've got a link there to my birth chart calculator. Pull your chart. And you're going to look for anything near 5 to 9 degrees, especially in the sign of Pisces, but all the other mutable signs, Virgo, Gemini, and Sagittarius. You got anything on or near 7 degrees? I like to go 2 degrees of separation, so 5 to 9 degrees of the mutables. This full moon's talking to that. So you're going to look for that. Now, it also pulls on the new moon from February 19th. So, we plant seeds under new moons. We're very intentional. We wish with intention. We manifest with intention and commitments. So if you go back to that February 19th new moon and kind of look, that's funny when we have a new moon in Pisces, because it's always like a door opening and a door closing, because Pisces is the sign that rules endings. So I want you to go back and look at during that time, what was starting, what was ending, and now here's the turning point. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth about this Pisces full moon on Daily Doses, but that's generally what I want you to really think about. What began and ended at the same time towards the end of February. And now, how is that coming to a head this week? How can you look back to look ahead? You might have to let something go. Pisces is forgiveness, and it is self-sabotage. Is there any kind of repeated pattern of behavior here that you need to acknowledge? You might need to let that go under this full moon in order to move ahead. Okay? Also on Wednesday, Mercury retrograde has its second quincunx to Chiron. So sorry. We hate those quincunxes. They're annoying, they're frustrating, they're just like, ugh. It's at 4:56 p.m. This is the second of 3 in this series. The first one was August 16th. So I want you to consider what was going on, what conversations were being had, where were you a little frustrated, where were you a little over it maybe, where were you triggered in some way. This is the second go-round, so it kind of comes back up. It's not gonna be. It's a next level of clarity, but we're not on the other side yet, because the third hit of this is not until the end of September. So we got to give ourselves to the end of September to really make things make complete sense. But here's the other hit. Try not to react too harshly. Chiron's in Aries. So when triggered, it can pop off. Try your best to not pop off and just say, okay, I'm going to just I'm going to just accept that this is going to make sense by the end of September. So I'm not going to try to make it do anything other than what it's doing right now. Then on Thursday, it's more like a come down day. All right. So Monday, Tuesday, we rock the boat. Wednesday, we're aha, boo hoo, turning points. Thursday, holy shit, let me catch my breath. Friday's just a get your shit together day, and it might not be you, it might be someone else. It might be someone like an authority figure, a boss, not really making sense because Mars in Libra, answering to retrograde Venus, is quincunx Saturn retrograde at 2:01 p.m. So this is like, get your ish together, bruh. And again, this is one of those opportunities where you have to ask yourself, am I swimming upstream? And if I'm swimming upstream, then I need to pull back, do less, and not try to force outcomes because this just isn't the week. Okay? You can know that. You can't expect the rest of the world to know that, right? So when things happen, when these annoying friction, stress-inducing energies take place, how can you just pull back and say, this isn't the week? This is not in line with what I need to let go. This is not in line with me microdosing the changes that are necessary. So I'm just going to go, sure. Silver lining is this doesn't have to be done right now. If it does have to be done right now, then that might be another story. But just remember, go slow. Saturday is just one of those like do what you want with whoever the hell you want to do it with, which just fun story. Herman and I are going to be seeing Beyonce that day. Yes, indeed. We're going to Renaissance World Tour, baby. So Saturday's definitely going to be like, screw the bullshit and let's Beyonce. That's why I sang Beyonce at the top of this podcast. And then Sunday, Venus stations direct at 6:20 p.m. at 12 degrees, 12 minutes of Leo. So we're going to do a deeper dive into Venus retrograde and this last week of this overlap with Venus and Mercury. Retrograding, going slow, reflection, doing all the RE stuff. But, this is the end of the meat of her retrograde story, right? So now after Venus stations on Sunday, now we've got the post shadow all the way till October 7th. So now all things Venus, you got to give yourself time for it all to come together for the cleanup. When planets station direct after a long retrograde, I call it the cosmic cleanup. Because now it's like, oh, okay, that's what it was for. That's why it didn't make sense. Or it's an opportunity to make things make sense. Because the sky is just in better shape. So I'm going to give you some examples in Daily Dose, how I've been working with this, and how, and in hopes that I inspire you to consider how what I'm doing can apply to what you're doing. Okay? So that's really it for the week. Now, we can't go anywhere without the do's and don'ts. So this week, your do's, I've got 4 of them. So if you're writing things down, here's number 1. Do be intentional. Okay? So with your decision making this week, be intentional. Be hyper aware if it is you pushing against the grain or is it you microdosing and taking things slow. Your second do, reflect on your needs. What do you want? What do you desire? What has Venus retrograde been showing you this whole time? 3, do allow necessary endings. This Pisces full moon might it's going to likely bring up some intense emotions or intense feelings, intense experiences. And maybe that's more of like a spiritual experience. But it can also activate outside world, affecting your inside world. So be open to any necessary endings. I'm just going to leave that there. And then the fourth do is take your downtime. We are not always given downtime. This week is so great for downtime, and everything that follows over the next few months is pretty active. And, just keep in mind, the end of this month, at the end of September, we're looking at eclipses beginning. And we know that eclipses are rocking and rolling. So take this as welcomed downtime. Now, your don'ts this week. Do not resist your truth. Do not, number 2, resist change. And 3, and I think this might be the one you want to bold, highlight, and underline. Do not let toxicity get the best of you. Whether that is internal toxicity, we're looking at internal repeated patterns of behavior that might be toxic to yourself and to others. And on the flip, don't let toxic people get in your friggin' way. Release those mother truckers. Full moon's good for that. Full moon is good about being like, oh, word? You operate like that, you toxic mother trucker? I'm out. I am Gucci on you. I'm good. All good. Okay, so there's your do's and don'ts. Take that with you. Reflect this week. Take your time this week. I'll see you in the daily doses. I'll see you in your inbox. If you're not on the Cosmic News Train, scroll down. Get on that Cosmic News Train. Your inbox is thirsty. And I'll see you next week. Have a good one. Bye. This is Graham Breitenstein, and you've been listening to This Week with Drunk Astrology. If you want to follow Drunk Astrology, head to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and hit that follow button. And if you want to learn how to put astrology in motion for you, head to drunkastro.com and get on the insider list. If you haven't already, subscribe, rate, and review this podcast on Apple, Spotify, and Google platforms. Tune in next week for yet another opportunity to work in sync with the stars. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you soon.